Hi, this is Jim at Crawl Auto Parts, and tonight we're going to be installing the KAPSGL1 and the KAPSGL2S. That is for the passenger rear or the driver's front, and this is going to be a 2017 GMC 1500 with a 5.3 engine. The back two bolts are broken on this vehicle, and like I say, the SGL1 is for the way back corner, and the second from the rear is going to be the SGL2S. You're going to need some tools, longer extension with a swivel, 3/8 drive is all the bigger you need. You're going to need a 1/2-inch wrench or 13 millimeter, a couple extensions, 17 millimeter socket, Allen socket for the tightening of the bolt, and that's pretty much about it. So we're going to look at the brackets here. We've got the SGL1, which the bracket has got a spot on the back here which you can hold the bracket if you need to while you're tightening. So you can stick the wrench on here and hold it into place as you're tightening the mounting bolt and the pinch. So it can't turn. The SGL2S, which is the second from the rear, looks just like it. Same exact purpose, just that it's a little shorter. You can see it's shorter in length, and that is to actually make clearance for the spark plug. All right, we did use these parts on the center of the older LS engines from 99 to 2012. These brackets were used on the center bolts on those engines, so we've used these brackets for quite a few years already. They've proven themselves well. It's a simple design. There is a card along with the brackets, and that card will tell you basically that due to clearance between the spark plug and the bracket, you can adjust the bracket where you need to, because it's on one bolt, and adjust it where you need to get a little clearance between the wire. If it's touching the wire, it's not going to hurt a thing. They can touch as long as they aren't actually pinning against the wire hard, and that's where you can adjust them. The instructions will tell you on here, and the instructions on the paperwork. Okay? Okay, we're going to go at this. We have removed the inner fender liner to get at it. It's the easier way to do it. You can do these brackets from the top, but if you've got a way to do it, it's nicer to take the wheel off, pull the liner out. Okay, you're going to be using, star bit to take out the liner bolts around the outside. So anyway, we're in here now. We're going to make a little room here. There's a little vent tube here for your AC. Pull that off temporarily, get it out of your way. Also, the plug wires, I pull them off the coil. Leave them on the spark plug, just let them hang down. You got the two back here broken. This one here is the tightest one up against the firewall. Very hard to get at. You can't drill direct. You can try to do the obvious and try to weld it if you have the means to do so, but like I say, the brackets are very, very dependable, and they work well. We're going to put them both on. And here we do have the SGL1. And we got the mounting bolt. You might have to bend the shield slightly. If it hits too much, just take a screwdriver in there and just give it a little push over to the side, like I say. And you can get your room then to get the bracket in place. I'm trying to do this with a camera here, so it's a little harder. Okay. So you just get the one mounting bolt caught. And like I say, if you do have to hold it with another wrench, you can do that once you get down further. Right now we don't need to. And all right, we got a 15 millimeter here then to tighten that mounting bolt. Usually the threads on these cylinder heads are not real corroded. I mean, if you've got a corrosion problem, you might want to run a bolt in with some penetrating oil beforehand, just to make sure that the holes are all right. And like I say, here is where if you have to get a little clearance for your spark plug wire, you can adjust this bracket where needed, loosen it back up a little and turn it where you want it a little bit. I mean, as long as it's pressing on that manifold, it doesn't have to be dead centered over the hole, okay? And pull the mounting bolts tight. I mean, there's a torque spec in here, but just pull them good and tight. Don't be shy. You don't have to use a breaker bar or something, but obviously you don't want them loose. And the same with the pinch bolt. We got the bracket basically in place already. I'm going to put the SGL2S, the single one, second one from the rear. I'm going to put him on right away too. The other thing I should have stated here, you want to look for is make sure that the bolts are broken down below the outer level of the manifold. They don't have to, you just want them just below the edge of the outer edge here. Because obviously if you're turning the pinch bolt down, it's going to hit that broken bolt otherwise. If they're not down that far, if they're broken off way out here, make sure you take a little grinder or something, grind them down just a hair, just so you think they're, that there should be a below the edge of the manifold. All right. And that's with any of our brackets. You have to have that ground down, otherwise it's going to crush down on that broken bolt, and you don't want that. Again, 15 millimeter. And we use a grade 8 or better bolt for mounting, so the bolts are very strong. They aren't going anywhere. And here's where it comes into play if you want to hold that bracket from turning. You use your wrench, hold it in place, and you can get it, as centered as you can above that bolt that's broken, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm just touching the plug wire. I don't want to push hard on it. Okay, they're both tight. Now you can go back and, if give them another pull. Like I said, make the bolts good and tight. I like anti-seize on the bolts, because that way if you ever do want to take it back off, the bolts will come out for you. And the pinch bolts there's a serrated nut on the end. Don't worry about Loctiting or anything. They won't back off. We're going to pull them both tight now. We're going to pull the pinch bolt down. Okay. We've got our socket head here. We use that for clearance. That's why we use that type of bolt. Again, turn it down. If the bracket, if you think it's going to move, hold it and pull it down tight. And don't just snug it. I want these bolts pulled good and tight. They will take it. Here, I'm going to go back to the rear corner. This is the SGL1. This is the rear corner. There you are, and they are tight. Those brackets pull down to 25 foot-pounds on the pinch. That's more than the original bolts. They're only 16 to 18 that held these manifolds. So the original bolts did not hold this as tight as what these do. You maybe want to go back once and check them again. Just pinch, just to make sure that they stay down tight. If they seem to move, pull them back down once, and they should be good. Losing once is about all they need. If you have a little bit of a leak there, that's another thing. Pull them down again after a few weeks of hot and cold cycles, and that'll make sure that the manifold, if it's warped, it will easily pull back into place. Gaskets are usually good. You see very rarely on the GMs with a bad gasket. They use a stainless gasket. It's very dependable. If you would ever have to remove and put new gaskets in, I absolutely recommend using OEM GM gaskets again. The stainless steel, do not use paper gaskets. They do not hold up. And that's with replacing bolts. Doesn't matter. The paper gaskets are not the thing to use. These brackets fit 2013 and newer, 4.8, 5.3, 6.2, 6.6 engines. The 6.0 does not use this bracket. The 6.0 uses our older brackets, such as the KAP108, KAP169. That's for the older 1999 up to 2012s. But the 6.0s use them all the way up until the new ones. I think that's pretty much everything. You put your plug wires back on, put your vent back on, but that should take care of that. And these brackets too, by the way, too, also fit the later 4.3 V6 direct injection engines too. But it has to be the later ones, 2015 and newer direct injection. Alrighty. It's Jim at Crawl Auto Parts, and if you got any questions, feel free to call us. Thank you.